meeting. Adequate notice of meeting. Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Laws of 1975, this meeting notice was sent to the Asbury Park Press on May 15, 2018, and it's been duly advertised in the Asbury Park Press issue of May 18, 2018. All municipal clerks of the townships and boroughs within the regional high school district have been duly notified, and the requirements of the posting of notices have been met on May 15, 2018. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mark, you had something.
Yes.
Executive session.
Yes. In addition to the items noted that was on the agenda publicly prior to the meeting, the board also discussed in item number 7, the board discussed upcoming contractual negotiations with both the SECA organization and the principals negotiation. The board also received an update on the state aid funding litigation, and in number 8, the board also discussed personnel items as noted on the agenda.
Okay, may I have a motion to approve the minutes of January 7, 2019?
Motion. Second.
We have January 8. Okay. Any discussion? Roll call. Sean?
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mrs. Cappiello?
Yes.
Mr. Carollo?
Yes.
Mrs. Fankhauser?
Yes.
Mrs. Lavin?
Yes.
Mr. Moses?
Yes.
Mr. Messinger?
Yes.
Mrs. Sotera?
Yes.
Mr. Estel?
Yes. Communications are on file in the office of the board secretary. Can we yield the floor for the superintendent's report?
Thank you, Mr. Masatola. So, a few items tonight. First and foremost, if I am on my phone, I apologize. Everybody's having their weather discussions across the county, so I'm not intending to be rude, but I just want to make sure that I'm keeping abreast of what's happening with the weather forecast. A couple things to update the community and the board on. We had a very successful QSAC visit on January 14th and 15th. As we anticipated, came through very strongly in all of the categories, with the exception of 2 important categories that I've publicly bemoaned in the past and challenged directly with the officials at the Department of Education. The first being our park participation rate. When park was implemented, and more on that later with where we sit with that presently, but when park was first implemented, as folks remember, it was not, there was not a mandate to pass that exam initially, and so our participation numbers at the Freehold Regional High School District were very low. We ran at a refusal rate of between 40 and 50%. And it put us in a difficult position as it relates to QSAC because the state, in order to push compliance to take the park exam, embedded your park passing rates as a significant portion of the instruction and program component of the QSAC monitoring. So I'm using an awful lot of acronyms now, and I apologize. So, as a result of that, we knew going into the QSAC monitoring, and in each of the 5 categories, any district that receives an 80 and above you're highly efficient. We knew that we would not achieve the prerequisite score of 80 or above in IMP because of our park numbers, and that's exactly what bore out with the QSAC evaluation. or monitoring, I should say. We're waiting from official notice from the Department of Education, but it's something that we've taken up with the department. As a regional high school district, we also have challenged some of the ways that the scores are interpreted, because for us, for example, with mathematics, any student that is accelerated in mathematics, unlike English, they take the PARCC exam in the 8th or 7th grade. And so we don't even, those numbers are never reflected in our numbers. Students that moving through ELA, every 9th grader takes the PARCC exam, every 10th grader, and so there's not a disconnect between the students taking the examination. So, but overall, a very, very positive visit. Our facilities review went exceedingly well. Colts Neck High School actually and Marlboro High School were randomly selected as two of the high schools to be visited, and that included a full day of walking through both buildings and really every square inch of the building, and so we came through that component with flying colors. Speaking of PARCC, the future is very much up in the air at this point in time, so folks have been following, and I know that the board members here have been keenly interested in what that looks like for us. So presently, the ELC, the Ed Law Center, brought a court case where PARCC was deemed unconstitutional as a graduation requirement. We are presently in a holding pattern. This Department of Ed guidance has been to pursue to move forward as you have previously. There is an awful lot of legislation out there regarding PARCC. Some of it is to just simply waive current high school students from PARCC requirements. Others would be to designate a test for the class of 2021. What we do know is that we have students that are going to graduate with the class of 2019, and if their grad requirements were deemed unconstitutional, we're going to need some sort of waiver from the state for those folks to graduate. I don't think that will be an issue. I think the larger issue will be what happens to PARCC long term. If we do go with the waiver, the initial poor implementation of this testing system will have set the state back a decade in terms of the effective use of standardized assessments. And so it's an unfortunate reality, and I just hope that we don't pivot too hard in any one direction and jump without anything that we can get behind and fully support. So more to come on that, but we're in a holding pattern. Our 8th grade orientations are completed at this point in time. Very well attended, very successful, packed houses across the district. So we're looking forward to welcoming the class of 2023 next fall, which I can't even believe I'm saying that, but that's 2023 will be in our buildings. I just wanted to just tout some of the work in the district. Phi Delta Kappa, which is a national magazine, Ed magazine, and highly respected magazine, ran an article on some of the work that we've done here in the school district as it relates to providing students with opportunities and parallel supports to do well in challenging classes, and in particular in improving outcomes and opportunities for traditionally disadvantaged groups. And it was a nice national feature for some of the work that's going on in this district over the past several years, and feather in the cap to the Freehold Regional High School District. And then as it relates to our financial situation, as it relates to S2 and the current plans to reduce state aid by approximately 50% for the Freehold Regional High School District over the next 7 years, which amounts to just shy of $25 million for us. A number of things are afoot. The district has partnered with 70 other districts in an organization that we've branded as Support Our Students, SOS. There's a lot of collaboration around messaging key legislators, getting that word out to our public. What you'll see in the coming days is that we've developed a component of our website to really shine a light on what the financial implications are for the Freehold Regional High School District. And I'll be sending out a letter to the community within the next day or so, provided the weather doesn't get in the way of that release. And then we'll be continuing to work with our local communities over the coming years to get the message out. However, we're positioned for the next year or so financially, and then the district is truly going to take a step off of a really dangerous cliff. And we know that is the current path we're on. I've said it, this is the third board meeting in a row where I'm just making a case. We joined the lawsuit with 8 other districts to challenge the funding formula itself. Mr. Boyce and I, as far back as 2015, were testifying at the Senate Ed Committee about the variability and the unpredictability of the funding formula in the state of New Jersey, and the fact that the determinants for local fair share we felt were not representative of the wealth of a community. And I think we're in a really dangerous spot when we're choosing to fund school districts at the expense of other school districts. And that's the decision that's been made presently. And I think that the long-term repercussions for the Freehold Regional High School District are certainly going to place us in a very difficult position in the coming years if some legislative change is not brought forth. And I'm hoping that our collective voice, particularly with the other districts that are in similar situations, with our local officials who I know believe in the school district, trust us to have been effective financial stewards of the taxpayer dollars in this community, and know that our per pupil spending is almost $3,000 under the state average, to take a district that represents the regional ideal that the state is aspiring to presently and systematically dismantle us over the next 7 years is it's really mind-blowing. So hopefully we prevail in a way that is equitable and fair for all kids across the state, and we're not in this state funding some students' education at the expense of others. That concludes my report.
Can I ask a question, Mr. Sampson?
Sure thing.
This has to do with the nutrition guidelines in the schools, and I understand that whether it's sales via vending machine or if a club's doing a fundraiser, there's restrictions on what could be sold in the school during the school day. And my question is, are those regulations, is that state or federal oversight of who's determining what can be sold in the school during the school day?
So I'll ask Mr. Boyce to chime in if I'm off, but I believe that those are federal guidelines that are adopted by the state. So really the guiding guidelines, for lack of a term, are from the federal level, Mr. Messinger, and then I think the state of New Jersey then adopts those federal guidelines.
And it's tied into what can be served in a cafeteria, right? Because there was all that hullabaloo with Michelle Obama's rules and regulations. So I just wondered if the vending machine sales and the fundraising sale was tied into the same rules and regulations that Mrs. Obama handed down.
Yes, the answer is yes, that they're all part of the same thing. The push from the federal government, Department of Agriculture at that time, under First Lady Obama, was to just improve or limit the choices of students within the school day, and in lunch in particular. The reason that there are no other sales permitted at the same time lunches is because we need to capture all of the nutritional information, or I should say the nutritional information for all of the food that is being made available. Outside of lunch period, there's foods of minimal nutritional value are not permitted to be sold. Outside of the school day, all bets are off.
Got it. Yes.
All the potato chips you want. Mr. Sampson?
Yep.
So we're planning right now on park testing, exactly like we've done, like San Diego, testing the hours for kids and staff. Nothing really has changed. It's the same overwhelming testing.
Yeah, so the current Department of Education guidance is proceed as you would otherwise. I did speak to a DOE official this evening who informed me that they had a 48-hour reprieve with the court decision, and they'll be looking to certainly work something out for the class of 2019, but the guidance as we know it today is to proceed as we had been proceeding.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, are there any board reports? I don't think there are. They would encompass curriculum and instruction, finance, or policy. Are there any board reports?
No.
Okay.
One note, there'll be a memo coming out the next day or so for a policy meeting. We'll be due for that.
Okay. We have no public comment for this meeting that was brought up to the desk. And there's one addendum to the agenda. And if Secretary, if you could read that off for me.
Sure. Board, it's a change. I draw your attention to G3, approval of appointments. The effective start date for Deborah Rosino, long-term sub, health and PE at Freehold Township, should be February 22nd, not February 28th. So with that change, that's what we have.
Okay, may I have a motion to approve items G1 through K1 all in one shot?
Motion.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, this is on G4, and if Mr. Sampson could refresh my memory. I had, because G4 is where we're approving a whole bunch of coaches for sports, and I had thought at one point in time that there was some type of step schedule where if you were a first-year coach, you didn't make as much money as a coach who had been here for 20 years. And I don't see that as the case on this agenda, so I just wanted to know when and if that changed. I may be wrong, and maybe it was never like that.
No, you're correct, Mr. Messier. So under the current collective bargaining agreement, so what we had in the previous contract, I believe, was a 4-step coaching guide. When we settled the last contract 4 years ago with the Teachers Association, what we went to was, we went to, I think it was 3 years of a difference, and then in the 4th year, we merged into one salary for those stipend positions, and that held steady for year 4 and 5 of the collective bargaining agreement. So what you're seeing now is a stipend that's reflective of those positions that are the same, regardless of experience for the coach who undertakes that position.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, can we get a roll call now, please?
Mr. Bruno? Yes. Mrs. Cappiello?
Yes.
Mr. Corolla?
Yes.
Mrs. Fankhauser?
Yes.
Mrs. Lavin?
Yes.
Mr. Messinger?
Yes.
Mr. Moses? Yes. Mrs. Sotera?
Yes.
Mr. Escobar?
Yes. Old business. Are there any members wishing to discuss old business? Are there any members wishing to discuss new business?
Just a moment of congratulations. So Dave Zwerz is in the audience. Dave, if you could stand up. Dave will be the new SECA here at Colts Neck High School, actually. Dave is currently the athletic coordinator at Jackson Liberty High School, which basically means he's been doing the job for several years, but as a teacher on special assignment. Went through a multi-round process, came back to my office on a few occasions because anybody who's from external, we spend a lot of extra time with for any of these positions, and Dave is the choice of the committee, and we look forward to welcoming you to Colts Neck High School and Friel Regional High School District, Dave, so welcome aboard.
Mr. Sampson, I'd just like to say that, Dave, I'd just like to say that I worked for Dave last year at Jackson Liberty. He did a great job there, so Ryan's really lucky to have him.
Dave, just make sure you let me stand on the sidelines for football games, okay? Because that's an important thing. And before we adjourn the meeting, I sincerely would like to thank Mr. Donahue for hosting tonight. The grounds were immaculate, as they always are, and also for the support of the Colts Neck Police Department, who's there for so many things, so many items that occur in the school district, and as a Colts Neck resident, always available within minutes when my false alarms go off. So thank you. With that said, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion. Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.